Hello, veterans. My name is Dwayne. I got a video for that Kimball, United States Army veteran, retired VA rating specialist, and your VA claim nugget man. Today's video. What are VA employees supposed to do when a veteran requests a financial audit for their VA compensation? In today's video, I'm going to provide you with some references to help you understand what does that look like. Okay, everyone, before we get into today's video, make sure you go ahead and hit that like, subscribe, and notification button. A lot of individuals are saying, Dwayne, I'm not getting notified when you go live. When you click that subscribe button, it's going to be a drop down. You have to select all so you get notified when I go live or when I upload a video. Now, what is the process for when veterans submit a financial audit? A lot of times veterans say, hey, I'm 90%, I have a dependent, either I didn't get back pay or they are not paying me for my dependent for the past 12 months or whatever, okay? But let me tell you, when you do this is gonna take a while, all right? This is not a priority for the VA. But here's the good thing about it. You can continue to file other claims while they are conducting this financial audit, okay? So let's go ahead and get into it. Slide number one. Here in slide number one, you can see I'm taking you out to the M21-1, and here it talks about actions, okay? Actions to take in response to an audit request. I've seen where veterans won the audit request and they didn't win the audit request. December of every year, the VA sends a generated letter, summary benefit letter, and it states your overall percentage, if you're permanent and total, the dollar amount that they are paying you. Make sure you know what you are to be paid based on your overall rating, if you have dependents on your award that the VA is paying you for, and if you have any SMCs, okay? They have compensation rate tables that will provide that information. You can calculate all that up and say, yep, looking at that letter, I am getting paid correctly. But if not, you can submit an audit. So it says, step one, establish an end product EP 290. Guess what, people? I have a video where I'm explaining what are EPs, okay? So if you ever do a financial audit and you call the 800 number, 800-827-1000, and you say, hey, is the EP 290 been established? And if they say yes, you know that they received your audit. They may be able to tell you where it's at in the process if there's any notes, okay? Now, number two, if the audit request raises questions concerning authorization related matters that, and we got some examples down at the bottom, withholdings, payment rates. I've seen veterans that came in, they received the severance pay, they came in and filed a claim, and the back pay, they withheld it, and then if they had to take a certain percentage of the overall compensation for that condition that the veteran received their severance pay from, they will withhold it. But I've seen veterans come back in, file a claim, the VSR, for whatever reason, they still withheld some of the veterans' compensation when they were not supposed to. And sometimes the veteran didn't even know it and another VA employee caught it, okay? And guess what, people? I did a video where I talked about, I can't remember if I called it severance pay or withholdings or something like that, but make sure you go and check it out. Then it says payment rates, all right? Then, and this is what I like about some of these M21-1s, it says if it gives you a scenario, and then on the right-hand side, then do this, okay? Review the beneficiary's award history and payment record to determine if corrective action is needed. Take any necessary award action to implement needed corrections. Now, this is not a function of the RVSR. Sometimes the VSR may say, hey, we need you to do a backfill rating of the code sheet So we can go ahead and make sure this veteran gets paid correctly, all right? And if you win that audit, there could be an additional back pay for you. So that's why it's key for you to understand, hey, this is what I'm service connected for. This is the percentage for all my conditions. And this is the overall compensation I need to be receiving every month, okay? And then it says, note, if an award adjustment is necessary to correct an error, change the EP 290 to an EP 930. So if you're calling in and you see, and they tell you, yep, the EP 290 is still pending, they're still working on it. But if they say, no, we changed the, they say, well, no, it's EP 930 now. Now you know, hey, they're correcting that. More than likely you won, all right? Let's keep going. Slide number 2. Here in slide number 2, this is a continuation of this particular M21-1, okay? And it gives an example. A veteran submits a request for a financial audit indicating his or her recently adjudicated dependency claim was awarded from an incorrect date. A review of the claims folder reveals the following. The veteran has been assigned a 40% evaluation since February 29, 2010. His youngest child was born September 19th, 2016. He submitted a fully complete VA form 21-686C, that is a dependent form, on March 7, 2017. An award action authorized May 1st, 2017, awarded additional benefits for the child effective March 7, 2017, payable March 1st, 2017. Now, you may say, well, wait a minute, it was March and then payable on the 1st of each month. So April 1st, when that veteran received that payment, it was for the month of March. We are paid in arrears, okay? And then the analysis, the result. Now I'll read it. In light of the timeliness of the claim filing, additional benefits for the dependent should have been awarded effective the date the dependency arose, the date of the child's birth, okay? So if you go back and look at it, September 19th, 2016, that's when the child was born, okay? The veteran was awarded 40% February 19, 2010. They submitted the 686C on March 7, 2017, within 1 year of the date of the veterans, the date that the veteran's child was born, okay? So you can see September 19, 2016, the veteran came in, March 7th of the following year, 2017, and submitted that dependency form. Because the substance of the request, although counts in terms that reference an audit, relates to an entitlement determination routinely made by the authorization activity. Authorization activity are VSRs. They call them authorizers, okay? Our VSRs are not authorizers. Now, just think about this, people. It's easy for me to look at these dates in this particular scenario and understand it because I was trained by the VA, and this is what we're looking at, a lot of dates. This is a very simple scenario they gave you. Not all the time does it fall in a rater's lap this way. You may look through, you're looking at February 19th, 2010, all the way up to May 7th, 2017. You could be looking through 7 years of stuff because the veteran could have come in and done, submitted other claims, okay? So it's not always just cut and dry. That's why it's important that you need to understand this stuff before you submit that financial audit. Last slide, slide number 3. Here, this is a continuation of the same M21-1. It was really long, okay? So number 3, it says send an encrypted email requesting performance of an audit to finance activity. Finance activity closest to the zip code of the geographical area where the veteran currently resides, okay? You have some regional offices where they have more employees in the financial department, and some may not have that many because it's a smaller regional office, okay? I remember when I worked at St. Pete regional office, I want to say they didn't have any more than 15 employees, a couple of supervisors, and I want to say maybe 10 or 12 or 13 employees, okay? Wasn't a large department, okay? And you can imagine how many audits that they received, okay? And it says, for more information on the finance activities, responsibilities with regard to audit requests, they give you another M21-1. I'm not going to cover that. Step 4, did a finance activity determine an award adjustment is necessary to resolve discrepancies in the beneficiary's payments? If the answer is yes, make the award adjustment under the pending EP 290. Now on the other slide, it said if they had to do it, they had to change that EP, okay? 5, provide the beneficiary and/or RPC with a corresponding informational or decision notice. Notes, there is no standard form requirements for a request for financial audit. Now, no formal claim form for a financial audit. Guess which form I'm using if I'm submitting a financial audit. I'm going to use a VA form 21-526Z and spell everything out as to why I am submitting that financial audit. You may ask yourself, Dwayne, why would you do that? Because in VBMS and VBMSR, prescribed claim forms stick out opposed to correspondence. They see it a lot faster, okay? That's just my opinion. When I adjudicated claims, I was going through VBMSR and I saw an 0995, or 0996, a 526CZ, any particular VA claim form, I'm clicking on it immediately, seeing exactly what the veteran is saying on that particular form. But as you saw, they're saying it doesn't have to be on a particular form. If you want to write it on a piece of paper or you want to put it on a VA form 21-4138, do you. But me, I'm using that 526CZ. With that being said, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and as always, share this video with your fellow veteran. Thank you. Don't be frustrated, get educated.